Hey everybody, got a video for you here today about the update on this grow room. Today's the electrical. Did the electrical here. You can see some wires which I'm going to get into here. The different gauge wires that we use here. But basically the room is basically done. I just need to do the last touches, but you see I got the drywall up, got the door up there. This is the electrical, which I ended up running the electrical here. I got it coming off of a 15 amp breaker, and from my 15 amp breaker it goes into this junction box. You never run a wire from your electrical panel straight into the room. You know, some people, they do that, they run it straight into the room. The wire coming in just goes straight into the room and then branch off of that one wire. You don't want to do that. You really want to set yourself up with this kind of junction box and have your incoming power going into the junction box there, and then you moret that and tie that into the different branches that you want going out. That'll be easier to service it in the future, or to inspect it, or whatever it is that you may have to do. But I mean, you know, this is what you want to do when you're dealing with electrical. You want to make sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be, and this is the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have this wires running into that junction box there. From there, I have it branching out over here. Comes down over here, and I got a little electrical outlet over here. Then it comes off of here on that side. Then I bring it down over here, comes across the side of the room. And here comes down in, and it branches off in there. Now on this side of the wall I used plywood. Now I'm going to show you why on the inside, but you can see from here I tied it in, just put a little hole there, and ran it in there, and from there I just kind of ran it in series here and just brought it back down in, and then that's going to come down to the second one over here, and that's going right in, and that's basically our electrical to the room. I just ran a 15 amp breaker in because that's what you're supposed to do. And as we get in here, you can see that it's done. Got this over here, got everything done over here. Drilled a hole in that plywood, have my hot wire, the neutral wire coming in, and then it just branches off of there, comes back through to feed that one down there, comes back down the wall, comes in through here, and then feeds this one in here. So now we got these two that I mounted on this big piece of plywood that's going to represent one of my walls here. This is a very strong, steady piece. The two pieces on the bottom are much stronger than the one on the top, and that's because you know, this is going to be the area for some clonings and stuff like that. So I'm going to have smaller lights and fluorescent lights that are going to be hanging down here. I also like to use lizard lights as well, not just those, you know, cheap white lights that you get from the department stores. I like to go to the pet shops and get these really cool daytime basking lights and stuff like that, and they really work. UV ray lights, stuff like that. So I mean, I sometimes use stuff like that. So I'm going to hook up some area here for hanging some extra lights. But basically, you know, this is the room. I'm going to put up some mylar all the way around. This is the other outlet over here. Basically the same principle. Just ran it down there, wires in through. This is going to get all plugged into the wall and everything. And that's basically our room. I still got to do the basic, you know, follow-up touches and, you know, reflective material and all that. That's going to be done to that room. But here, basically, I want to get to talk to you about this electrical wires that we were using here. You know, they come in different sizes, and there's a reason for that. And you want to be very careful what you're using. You want to make sure that you're using the right size. Now, for here, what I got here is I'm showing you an 18.5 wire. This is an 18 gauge wire, and it's got 5 wires in there, 5 independent wires. So this is called an 18.5 wire. And then over here you'll see we have this is a 12.2 wire. So this is a 12 gauge wire, and then you have a little ground wire in the middle that's not counted, and then you have the another wire in there. So you got 2 wires in there, and that's a 12 gauge. So this is a 12.2 wire. This is typical typical small air conditioning wire for the rooms and stuff. So if you're going to be running an air conditioner, you're not going to obviously use this 18.5 wire. This 18.5 wire is for thermostats. This is for the communication between the heating and the cooling and the ventilation as well. This is going to be your low voltage 24 volts to communicate between your ventilation and your heating and air conditioning systems. So this is going to be for your air conditioning systems here. This is your larger gauge wire, and that's going to be for smaller air conditioners. Something large, obviously, you're going to go with maybe a 10-2 wire. But over here, then we got this is what I've been using here. This is what you're going to be using for your room more likely than not. This is the 14 2-wire, 14 gauge wire, 2 wires in there and the ground. This is the whole room is wired in this, and as far as the electrical outlets and going in from the junction box there, this is what you're going to find around most residential homes. You know, if you go to your bedroom and you take out your plug, your outlet in the wall, you're going to notice that you have a 14 gauge wire. So this is what's more likely you're going to be using. So, but just, I mean, you know, depending on what it is, you got to measure the amperage and make sure that the amperage is good for your 15 amp breaker anyway, if you're going to be putting a 15. Typically for, you know, any room, you're going to be putting a 15 amp breaker. You're going to be running a 14 2-wire. And if you do have a small low voltage electrical communications, you're going to definitely want to go with a thermostat wire. Make sure you don't mix these up. You could get into some electrical hazards and possible fires, and you definitely want to stay away from that. So yeah, that's basically our electrical there. Very basic stuff, and you know, room's looking nice. Got a lot of finishing touches to do. Mylar, I'm gonna button up the electrical, get everything going. I still got to test everything, make sure all the voltage is good and everything, and we should be good. But that's the video for now. Keep updated. I'm going to shoot you one last video just to show you the finishing touches and the room as it's done. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.